about the one big move that happened between Christmas and New Year's. There were a lot of things that happened, actually. Mitch Garver signed, Kevin Kiermaier signed, but the biggest move was clearly the trade of Chris Sale from the Red Sox to the Braves for Vaughn Grissom. This move was interesting for a lot of reasons, and I wrote about it in The Athletic on Tuesday night. It's still up there on Wednesday if you want to check it out. And I wrote about it from the Braves' perspective. Because the Braves, to me, have had a fascinating offseason. They're pretty much done now. They've made a ton of moves. Money's been flying everywhere. They've been sending it with players, getting it with other players, and they've increased their payroll by probably some $40 million. And yet, some of that increase is just natural due to salaries that are rising among the players that they have, and some of it is due to the moves that they've made. They essentially bought Jarred Kelenic from the Mariners. They did that. He's going to be their left fielder. And now with Sale, it's not a move that necessarily increases their payroll. In fact, they're getting him for almost nothing in terms of the finances involved. The Red Sox are covering 17 of the $27.5 million that Chris Sale is due in 2024. And of the other $10.5 million, $10 million of that is not going to get paid. It's deferred until 2039. I don't expect Alex Anthopoulos will be president of baseball operations of the Braves then. Not his problem. So essentially, Sale comes for $500,000. But it cost them a promising hitter, Vaughn Grissom. Now, Vaughn Grissom, I know his exit velocities weren't great last year when he was in the major leagues, but most people in baseball believe he will hit. And the Red Sox are going to install him in second base and feel pretty good about that. For Chris Sale, that's a good return. I don't know that there's any question about that. But my bigger question is with the Braves. And where is their rotation going in 2024? And what is it looking like in 2025 and beyond? In 24, you might say, whoa, it looks pretty good. Fried and Strider and Sale and Charlie Morton. The only problem with that is each of those pitchers has had injury issues in recent years. Not so much Strider. I should exclude him from that. Fried certainly has. He had the forearm last year. Charlie Morton's 40 years old, for heaven's sake. He's been relatively healthy since joining the Braves in 2021. And Sale, we know of his injury history. Now, the good news for the Braves, you look at the other candidates on this list, they have a number of other candidates. They signed Ronaldo Lopez with the idea of giving him a chance to start. Bryce Elder, brilliant in the first half last year, was an all-star. Then he faded in the second half. And then you've got two prospects, A.J. Smith-Shawver, we saw him a little bit, Hurston Waldrep, and then two guys coming off Tommy John, who Oscar Inoa will be ready by spring training, Ian Anderson, possibly June or July. So you look at them and they've got depth. But what happens at the deadline if things aren't going smoothly? And indeed, they might not be going smoothly, right? With these pitchers, the injury risks that are involved. And then beyond 2024, let's go fast forward a year. What happens next year, 2025? Fried, in my opinion, is almost certain to leave as a free agent. He's going to be priced out of where the Braves want to be. Charlie Morton at that point, who knows if he'll be effective? Who knows if he'll want to pitch? He'll be 41. And Chris Sale, the Braves do have a $20 million club option on him, which if he pitches well will be great. But will he pitch well enough for them to justify picking up that option? Will he pitch well enough to indeed be the playoff starter that they envision? It's a worthwhile gamble for them, certainly because Vaughn Grissom was blocked pretty much everywhere. He was a safety net for Jarred Kelenic, but not much more than that. And at the same time, it's a risky trade. So for the Braves, I'm a little worried, and it's interesting. I noticed the comments on the article. A lot of Braves fans were saying, hey, no reason to doubt Alex Anthopoulos. He has been mostly brilliant since taking over as president of baseball operations. No argument. Anthopoulos has done a tremendous job. He has mostly identified the right players at the right times, and there's every reason for Braves fans to feel confident about that again. Jarred Kelenic, I still believe, will be a really good player in the major leagues. Chris Sale, I'm not as sure about, but there were some good signs last year. There were some good things that he did. Strikeout rate was up. He did make 20 starts. I know he had some issues, but at the same time, we saw not the old Chris Sale, but certainly at times a competent, quality major league pitcher. And don't forget, the Braves also have added to their bullpen with Ray Kerr and, of course, Aaron Bummer. So it's going to be an interesting season for the Braves to see all this play out. For the Red Sox, we discussed them earlier, and we'll discuss them again right here. I do like Grissom at second base, and their infield right now looks pretty good. Casas, Grissom, Story, Devers. That's a presentable group for sure. The rotation is still a work in progress. And I mentioned they've swapped out Giolito for sale, or swapped in Giolito for sale, I should say. And here's how the rotation probably looks right now. Brian Bayo, Lucas Giolito, Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck, Cutter Crawford. Now, that is not a horrible group, but what is it missing? Clearly, a top of the rotation guy. Montgomery could be that. Blake Snell could be that, though I'm not sure the Red Sox will want to go on down that path. They could even make a trade. There's certainly a team that right now is in position with their farm system to do some things with their young players, maybe even acquire a Dylan Cease or a Corbin Burns. They're in position to do that. At the same time, I want to see it happen. And we've talked a lot about how Red Sox chairman Tom Werner at the start of the offseason said the team is going full throttle. We have not really seen them go full throttle just yet. It's kind of half throttled at this point. But the offseason is not over. And the Red Sox, again, still have the opportunities in free agency and in trade to significantly upgrade that rotation. And if they do that, they're suddenly a lot more interesting in 2024.